Welcome to Chapter 3 of the Adquio Cloud course. This time, we are going to see how to create tables in Adquio Cloud. These tables, in addition to allowing us to see data in real time, will also allow us to interact with the values of the facility. Let's go there. As always, to enter Adquio Cloud, we go to adquio.com. We enter the option Cloud and Client Access. And we come to the option that you already know, where we have all our facilities. This time, we are going to give the option Data Table. As you can see, we still do not have any. We are going to create the first one, giving it the dots, New Data Table. We will give it a name. Very well. We could give it a description. We are going to tell it how many rows it has. We are going to tell it 5. And we are going to tell it how many columns we want. We are going to tell it 2. And we are going to tell it that it is a weather table, for example. We give it to create, and it already paints that table, for example temperatures. And here, we are going to put probe 1, probe 2, probe 3, probe 4. And we also have the temperature of the CPU here. Very well, because the only thing we have what to do now is select the variables, and it would be PT1, PT2, PT3, PT4, and the CPU was something like CPU temperature, if we have other values that we want to put in column 2 parallel to these. Well, IMAG. In that we have an electrical consumption analyzer for these areas, because here, we could put the watts that the air conditioning of Zone 1, Zone 2, Zone 3, Zone 4 is consuming. In this way, we could see clearly then at a higher temperature then more watts of consumption. For example, since we are here, we are going to see that we can delete columns easily by giving this option. We are going to do it with this column. It is very easy to move these position columns, if we had more than one, dragging them by this crosshead. Change columns of position. For example, we are going to raise the temperature of the CPU up, simply doing like this, dragging and dropping. In this way, we can create the table just to our measure. Then we see that we can eliminate columns, that we can move columns, move rows, and down here we have the option of adding rows and adding columns. Therefore, we have total freedom to make this table as we need. We are going to tell it to save. It is saved, and now, if we go to our tables, we see that we already have the data updated in real time. Remember that this was done every 5 seconds. Since we are here, we are going to take advantage of it to see that we also have the option of exporting CSV, which we had already seen. These values will be exported in a file with that extension, and from there, we can treat them with any spreadsheet or program of statistics. We also, obviously, have the option to delete this table. Now, we are going to add a variable that allows writing to see how its value can be modified from the table itself. We are going to edit the table. We are going to add a row. In this case, it will not make much sense, since we are in the column of temperatures, but for the example it serves us well. So, how we want a modifiable data to be, we are going to take one of the outputs of Adquio. So, they are digital outputs, DOs, because for example, we take D001, we give it to save, and here, we are going to put digital output. You see that the columns are dynamically adapting to the content, as this legend is a little bigger than the previous ones, has left a little more space, and has balanced it with respect to the space that the data column has. Okay, then let's see how it behaves. We save it, we go here to the table again, and now, as we see, it tells us that it is active, but it does not work. I cannot change it. Why? Why? This is important. When we define this value, We have not given it since the value was modifiable, so we mark it, save it again, the graph we come here to see it, and as we see it now it tells us that it is active, but if we click on it, we can put that it is idle. Let's leave it back as it was. As you can see, this is a digital output that only admits values 1 and 0, but they have been set literals, so that for the user it is much easier to use it, activated and deactivated, active or inactive. Okay, we are going to leave it active. Very well, because as you can see this is a short video. This is how tables with values are created in real time, and you can place in these tables all the values you need. There is no limit either, nor of rows, nor of columns, obviously, something that is reasonable for the browser in which we are going to consult it. Finally, I am going to show you some tables created with real values, already from a client, so that you can see what can be done in a very simple way. Okay, all these values are being updated in real time, as you know, every 5 seconds. As you can see, there are hundreds or thousands of data. We are done. See you in the next video, in which we will talk about how to create SCADAs.